All those people who are watching me right now, this is Pastor Peter Benjamin from Power of God Ministries. I'm going to talk about the balance of life today. And I'm going to cover a lot of things that is very essential for our living. This is going to be a great time for you to just tune in to the program and share it with other people. If you're watching us by the television, I would want you to just stick to your television for some time because I'm going to speak something very important that is going to be vital for your life. Church, this is a very important teaching that I feel is must needed in the church today. What I'm seeing is that every one of us are so caught up in our work life. Every one of us are so caught up in so many things where actually we don't need to give our time. And because of this sort of imbalance that is there in our life, our things are not going right. Our life is not right. Our health is not right. Our relationships are not right. Our churches are not right. Our spouses are not right. Our family is not right. And it is all because we are somewhere out of balance. I'm going to talk about the balance of trust, and also I'm going to talk about balancing time between work and family. How many of you have the issue about it? Balancing time between work and family. So we're going to talk about balance. Let me take you to a couple of verses and then we're going to go forward. I want you to come with me to book of Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 1. Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 1. Let's see what Bible speaks about balance. You know, there is a good balance. You can say it's a right balance, and you can also say there is a false balance. Can you say that? Right balance and then false balance. All right. What is a false balance? Let me just read for you first what Proverbs 11 and 1 says. Look at this one. A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Look at this one, Proverbs 20 and verse 23. I'm just going to take you to through a couple of verses for your understanding. Now look at this one. Diverse weight are abomination unto the Lord, and a false balance is not good. Come on, say false balance is not good.
False balance is not good.
It is all about balance. Now you see how many of you have, ever gone to a vegetable market and then saw that beam balance? Have you seen that beam balance? It goes left and right. It toggles left and right. You have a left pan and you have a right pan and you have a horizontal bar. You see, if somebody has to cheat you, they're going to put the false balance. Actually, the balance is not the right one. It may say 500 grams, but it will only weigh 250 grams or, something like that, so that, they can cheat you off into giving you something that is too little, but it promises as too big. Right? That is called a false balance. Now, when Bible is talking about the false balance, it is actually talking about the people who make use of the false balance to gain wrongfully. Right? When you go to a market, you have a balance, but they keep the false weight on the balance because they want to cheat you, because they want to rob you. That's why they keep a false balance. And Bible is saying that God hates false balance. Why? Because what you are promised is what you are not given. When you go to a market where somebody is trying to cheat you, imagine you want to buy sugar for 500, for say sugar of 500 grams. So the balance is only say around 4.95 grams. So they cheat you of 5 grams. Are you understanding how what? So they cheat you. So that's a false balance. And God says, I hate that false balance. I don't like that false balance. Now, having said that, Bible is talking about the false balance. But you see, many places in the Bible, this term balance is also used as an image, or it is also used as a representation of an attitude. All right? That's also a representation of an attitude. Many times we weigh things in our life as important and less important, right? And when we weigh things in our life as important and less important, and we weigh it wrongly, that's called a false balance. And Bible is saying when you weigh things in your life falsely, God hates it. It's an abomination. Are we getting somewhere with this one now? All right. So I'm just giving you these verses as in what Bible says about the false balance. Bible says, I hate false balance. I don't like false balance. I don't like people who works with false balance. Now, see, I'm going to show you one verse. This is a powerful verse. I want you to pay attention to this one. Jeremiah chapter 7 and verse 8. This is a beautiful verse, all right? Look at this one. Just look at this one. Behold, ye trust in lying words that cannot profit. You see that? Behold, ye trust in what? Lying words that cannot profit. Now, what is it about? This is about we hear the words, all right? Listen carefully. We hear the word and we trust them. And we do not check the source. We hear the word and we trust them, but we do not check the source. Which means to say, if you are not going to be careful about your life and weigh things indifferently, then you are going to fall into a category of a person who loves the false balance. Because you did not check the source. And you are responsible for your own losses. Listen, whatever you take for yourself is what you believed. Both lying and helping a person to lie, both stealing and helping a person to steal, both are wrong. Both false balance and allowing that false balance to move in the life, both are wrong. And God says that He hates the false balance. Are you getting this one all? All of this. Now, I want you to concentrate on this particular verse. This is a very powerful verse, and you're going to get this verse in the book of Hosea, chapter 12, and verse 6 and 7. Look at this one. This is a powerful verse because I want to teach you about the balance, and right now we're going to talk about the balance of trust. All right? What are we going to learn about? The balance of trust. Did you get that balance? Did you know about the balance? God hates what? False balance. God does not like false balance. Now, I'm also going to teach you about, then I also talk to you about when somebody speaks something that's a lie and you just believe it even without checking it and you trust in the people rather than trusting God. That's a false thing to do. We cannot just trust anything and everything that comes to your ear because you see many things are very deceptive. And the reason of my teaching you all this is because I want you to be strong in your life. You see, there are a lot of things going on. You know, you go in the street, the marketing is everywhere. You know, you go to a mall out there, they are selling you the credit cards. And they're so convincing, man. If you just give your ear to them, man, you're gone. You're gone for good. You're gone for good. So I want you to be strong. And I want you to learn to balance everything in life. And one of the things that I want you to balance is balance the trust. Balance of trust is very important. Whom you trust. Are you going to just trust anybody and everybody that comes your way? Are you going to take away your trust from God and give it to somebody else? Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come and have your trust? No, you cannot. That's a false balance. You understand? The world is selling you stuff, but you got to be a good buyer. Come on, say, I'm going to be a good buyer. The world is selling you stuff. You got to be a good buyer. And that's why we are here in this Sunday morning, because I believe after this service, you're going to be a good buyer. Amen. Now look at book of Hosea and chapter 12 and verse 6. Look at this. So now come back to your God, act with love and justice. All right? And always depend on Him. Look at that word always. Right? What is He saying? Always depend on Him. Look at verse 7. But no, this is God, all right? This is God talking through a prophet to the people. But no, people are like crafty merchants. Look at this one. Selling from dishonest scales. Did you see that? All right? Look at there. They love to cheat. They love to cheat. Is it describing our world today? Is it? All right. Look at this one. Verse 8. Israel boasts. What is Israel boasting about? Now, who is Israel here? The people of God. All right? Look at this one. Israel is boasting. What is he boasting? What is Israel boasting? I am rich. What is the Israel saying? I have made a fortune. All by myself. Underline that word. All by what? Myself. No one has caught me cheating. My record is spotless. All right? Who is speaking this? Israel is. God is speaking to whom? Israel. And what is Israel saying? Israel saying, I'm rich. I am rich. All right? And how did Israel get all the wealth? By wrong means. Now let me tell you, when we read this verse 6, 7, and 8, what goes into our mind, we are talking about the world. But let me tell you, we are not talking about the world, we are talking about ourselves. We are talking about ourselves. This is not the world, this is we. Look at the words. So now come back to your God, act with love and justice, and always depend on Him. Now think about yourself and think about the church in large. Do we really trust God? Yeah, we trust God, we say that. But do we really trust God? If we really trust God, why are we going out to gain things from the world in a way which displeases God? Can I show you something? Now, this is one part of the book of Hosea or Hosea. Now, can I show you something? I want you to read from verse 1. Look at this one. This is so powerful, all right? The people of Israel feed on the wind, all right? They chase after east wind all day long. Who's the people of Israel? God's talking about us. God is saying that we are like the people who are chasing the wind. Now, what would you get after chasing? Nothing. You get nothing. You get nothing. You get absolutely nothing. But Bible is saying that my people, that is we have become like people who are what? Chasing the wind. And guess what? We chase that wind all the day long. And Bible says they pile up lies and violence. They are making an alliance with Assyria. All right? You may think like, oh man, what are you talking about Assyria? Where do we go about Assyria? Now see, Bible is representing the nature of people. And when we talk about Assyria, we actually just not talking about Assyria. But here, when God is saying that you are making alliance with Assyria, now look at the further part, while sending olive oil to buy support from Egypt. Now, what the people of Israel were doing is that all this while, remember God pulled out Israel from Egypt. God took them out from Egypt. God was the Lord for them. It was God who protected them. It was God who became, in the time when it was very hot, He became the cloud upon them and protected them. In the night, He became like a pillar of fire and led them. He divided the Red Sea for them. It was all God. In the wilderness, Bible says their shoe did not get worn out. You see, God protected them. God fed them. God was with them. And now the word of God is saying, all this while God was their God, all of a sudden, now when they have become rich, now when they have become more stable, now when they have become more comfortable, now when the things are more beautiful and more worthy for them, now for their further up protection or their further glory or for their further advancement, they are making alliance with Assyria. All this while, God was the partner. And all of a sudden, they started making Assyrians the partner. And not only do they make Assyrians the partner, Bible is saying that God gave them the olive and the oil and all the wealth. Now they are using God-given wealth to make friendship with them from whom God took them out. And God is saying, what has happened to you? And this is what God calls as false balance. He's saying, don't you see what you're doing? All this while, who was the person who protected you? All this while, who blessed you? All this while, who got you so far? All this while, who gave you the strength? All this while, who was your God? Was it not me? And what are you doing? Bible is saying this is a false balance. And say, I don't like this. Because it was me who was giving you everything. It was me who was protecting you. It was me who was always in strengthening you. And now all of a sudden your trust has shifted from me to them. And now you think that they are going to be your God. Why are you making alliance with Assyria? You know why? Because they thought that Assyrians, which is the greatest and the most toughest and the most strongest army, they are going to come to the aid of Israel. Where were these Assyrians? And where were these Egyptians when you were bound? Where were these people who are saying that they're going to help you when you were nowhere? Let me tell you, in life when you start growing, and you come to a certain point, everyone wants to come and help you. Not because they want to help you, because they want to get something out of you. Because if they wanted to help you, they would help you while you were nothing. Listen, it was God who was there with me. You were not there. The world was not there. The people were not there. But God came to my aid. It was God helping me. I had no money, but God helped me. I had no shoes, but God helped me. We had no support, but God helped me. God took us out from the slavery into the promised land. He led us through. There was no king. There were no leaders. He gave us the leaders. He gave us the king. He did extraordinary, miraculous work to just lead our life. Look at this. God is talking about us. And through this word, God was asking me to just help the church to understand, look how over the span of time, we stopped trusting the Lord the way we always used to. And that's why we don't have miracles the way we used to. Earlier, we had miracles. Man, do you remember those times you had no money? And you were just simply praying and saying, God, help us. We don't have any finances. And there comes the provision. Somebody comes to your door, knocks the door, and just give you the finances. How about when you never had the food, you were just urging, oh, God, I want some great food. Lord, I'm so tired. God provided you the food right on that time. I remember, one of the day, we don't used to have much money back then. I'm talking to you about 11 years. Man, we've come a long way, 11 years. I remember me and my wife, we would go by the shop and we'll see the poultry shop right beside us, and my wife would be sitting and say, Peter, if we can just buy something today just for just a quarter kg of mutton or probably, a quarter kg of chicken. I'm telling you, Peter, I'm not going to even talk to you about the whole month. That was a situation. Can you believe to just buy 1/4 kg of chicken, we have to wait for 1 month? I remember those times when we would come to the church and me and Pastor John, we would think of buying this lead, For 1 month, we will wait to just buy a small lead. 400 rupees lead. We have to wait for 1 month to buy 1 lead. And we remember we would pray. So God help us, God help us, and God help us. And guess what? The provisions would come. The provisions would come. I remember I had no money to even, for my son. He didn't go to the school for 10 days. I didn't have money. And I would pray. I said, God help, God help, God help. And God made the provision for the feast of my son. And now listen, over the span of time now when we have money, all of a sudden we forget to pray. All of a sudden we put our trust on a bank balance. We have it. Our prayer life goes down. Our faith life goes down. Something, can I tell you, sometimes lack is a blessing. Sometimes lack is a blessing. And that's why when abundance comes and we forget, God again brings us back to the same position. Because He wants to get your attention. But you see, we were not made for lack. We were made for abundance. But we lost our abundance not because God wanted it, because we didn't behave well. Come on, church. This is the day we come back to the Lord and I say, God, I'm going to put my trust back in you. I'm not going to trust in the fancy stuff. Thank God you gave me money, but money cannot be my God. Come on. Thank God you gave me my people, but the people are not going to be my God. Thank God you gave me friends, but friends are not going to be my God. Thank God you have given me a host of counselors, but counselors are not going to be my God. Let God be my God. Let God alone be my God. Money is not going to become my God. The people are not going to become my God. The counselors are not going to become my God. Assyria is not going to become my God. Egypt is not going to become my God. My God is going to be my God because it was He, and it was He. It was He, then it is He, now and it is He who will be in future. I cannot disbalance the trust and give it to you. Trust is a difficult thing to gain. Trust is a difficult thing to gain. It's a difficult thing to gain. Church, I tell you, remember how God was with you. I want you to just ponder upon how God protected you, how God blessed you. Man, you were sick. Nobody was there. You didn't have money, but let me tell you, remember that day you fell on your knees. Your head was on the floor, and the eyes were full of tears. And you prayed, and you prayed, and you prayed, because the medicines would not be able to heal. God healed you. God protected you. Bring back the balance balance of trust in God. Bring back. You didn't have money to pay for your rent, and you prayed out your lungs, man. You prayed out. You wept. You cried. God help. Remember how God provided for those finances. Look at you. You did not have finances at all, even for your studies. And you were just saying, God, if I can get endorsement from somewhere, God, if I can just be helped by somebody. Look at that. What God did. God just gave you the favor. He didn't give you the people, but He gave you the favor. He gave you the favor. He was your God. He gave you the favor. You got through that admission. You got through that job. Not because you were good. There were 10 people better than you out there. There were 10 people with a better degree out there. But listen, look at this. How often do we, after all the success, shift our trust from God to what we have gained? From God to what we have gained. And I'm here to just tell you, let's get back to God. Let's not love the false balance. What belongs to God goes to my God. What belongs to Caesar belongs to Caesar, but what belongs to God belongs to my God. I am not going to have a status of false balance of trust in my life. I'm going to trust God. I'm going to trust God. Come on, somebody. I'm going to trust God. This is a simple verse, but it teaches you about balance. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. The path of a righteous man is ordained by God. He directs my step. This is right. That is wrong. That is fantastic. Go on, my boy. Move on. You're going to be successful. He directs my path. He will block the place where I shouldn't be going. He'll open the place where I have to go. He will stop the people who will come to disturb me. He will provoke the people to push me into my destiny. He is the one. He is the one who is going to ordain every step. He is the one who will direct all my path. Let me put my trust in Him. Joseph thought that he almost lost his dream, but thank God he put his trust in the Lord. And because he put the trust in the Lord, his brothers threw him in the ditch, but they were not knowing that it is God who is allowing the brothers to throw him in the ditch, because it is the ditch which is going to lead him to that place of glory. It is from the pit that man is going to come out into that place of great blessing. He will come out into that place where he's going to be sitting at the throne and ruling it. Let me tell you, from going from the pit to becoming a prime minister, it was a great journey, but God was directing the path of that young man. It was God. Now how can you trust? Remember what Joseph said to the king, I don't need your silver and gold. I don't need anything from you. It is not for that silver and gold I'm going to tell you the dream. It is God who reveals it. He never forgot his God. He never forgot his God. He never forgot the God in the prison. He never forgot his God in the Potiphar's house. He never forgot his God when he went into the king's palace. For him, he always balanced out his trust in the Lord. And I pray that we may learn to balance our trust in the Lord. Psalms 20 and verse 7. Some trusts in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember. But we will remember. We will remember. We hate the false balance, thus we remember. We remember what God did when I was nothing. We remember how God protected me when I was nothing. I remember how He fed me. I remember how He kept me. I remember how He led me. I remember how God has divided the Red Seas. I remember how he brought down the Jericho walls. I remember how he became the cloud for me in the sun. I remember how he became the fiery cloud, how he became a fire for me in the night. I remember how he was my God and he provided me the food. I remember, and Bible is saying, David is saying, some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God, which means to say, if I get in the trouble, I don't need to remember you. I need to remember God, which means to say, I don't remember your finances. I remember God, which means to say, I don't remember your aid. I don't even remember what position you are. I don't even remember how powerful you are. I don't even remember what all you have accomplished in the world, because I don't care how much you've accomplished in the world. I care for the person who accomplished something in my life. Just because you accomplish things in the world does not mean you can accomplish things in my life. I rather put my trust on a person who accomplished something, come on, inside of me rather than out in the world, because what I'm looking for is not what you did in the world. I'm looking for something what God did inside of me. I thank God that he was God to me. He was God to me in the low times. He was God to me in my dead times. He was God to me in my dry times. He was God to me in every season. I remember I cannot have a false balance of trust. How can I give you my trust? Come on, church. Let's put our trust in God.